All right, folks, we're gonna start with the lunges, get them out of the way. I'm gonna try the front facing camera, which I couldn't get to work the other day. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right. Get our weight going here. The position right. Yesterday, I did the exercise with I did it with the wrist up instead of down. Because we do that at the PT now with a slightly heavier weight. Today's PT was good. We got to use some rubber band pull things and high tension elastics, and that was kind of cool because it was maybe the most intense thing we'd done. The heaviest weight, the most energy expended. Set this whole thing up, and then I never hit the damn button. Yeah, it felt like a proper workout and a good challenge. We did a few different new ones today. Although I think I've been doing my back crunches wrong. I think they're supposed to be a little bit longer. Let's just reset that early. Yeah, it's good. Physical therapist is getting a vaccine for COVID. My mom's getting the vaccine because she's over the minimum age. So a lot of people I know. See, my brother-in-law who works at the Veterans Hospital is getting it. I guess it's important to know, even when people get the vaccine, they can still be carriers and spread the vaccine, but at a reduced rate. Let's do this one next and then continue on the topic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I think I'm screwing those up. I'm gonna have to double check before we do this again. At least I got a good routine going here with the additional exercises. We might be skipping Dynamites and Doom this weekend. Andy's not feeling well, and he just hopes he's not sick. You know what I mean when I say sick. But he's got a headache. He's got asthma, but he's always had asthma. And let's think of the word. Allergy season has been pretty brutal lately because it's been a whole whopping 65 to 70 degrees days in a row now I've made that joke. But it's true. It's just warm enough to be annoying when you're used to it being very mild in San Francisco. So we're going to probably skip that. Might compensate and do a Sunday and Monday with Cray. See what we can do. He's very near the end of Munch's Odyssey, which is going to show up in a random Halo video at some point. Let's do these guys next. I was watching the therapist do these, and she definitely pushes it a lot further than I do. So I'm going to do that myself here. The important thing is not to use my right hand to push, to just use the left hand for the stretch. Poor gal, it's been almost a month, well, longer than that I've been injured. It's coming up on week 4 since the surgery. It'll be week 2 of PT, and I wasn't checking like my nails, cut my nails, cut my toenails, cut my nails on my right hand and stuff. Like, it just was completely off the mental table. So the other day the gal was like, "Oh, you got some daggers here," and I was like, "Oh, frick." And go home and cut those. You know, I want to be like, "Give me a pair of scissors, I'll cut them right now." But it's funny the things that slip your mind. I'll do 2 more. There we go. It's funny, the book form is just like push and push, push and push, but it's like a push and hold and let go. Just like these are 3 sets of 10 reps, or is it 3 reps of 10 sets? Jeez, I'm losing my mind. 1, 2, but they want you to do them all in a row. It doesn't really matter if you break them up, because you're just supposed to rest in between. At the PT, I do a lot of stuff where we go up to a pillar and I essentially like punch it. All arm based, no weight or anything. It's really hard because I'm just programmed, like my dad taught me like how to throw a punch and stuff. So I'm like, let me punch this thing. No, it's like, no, we're just like pushing the wall. And then you try to like push the wall with your arm like that, and then you try to like pull a little. It's a pillar, not a wall. Pillar. You try to pull the pillar in. I don't know what that is. It sounds like a motorcycle. And those are interesting because it's really. It's difficult to get the mental discipline for me to pull with all the different parts of my body. Anyway, I've always just been good about that. In wrestling, you learn, use your core and use all this stuff, but really they're asking you just sort of flex like your arm and your shoulder muscles and your bicep and triceps and things. But it's not, we're not actually trying to pull the pillar in. We're just stretching out those muscles. So you end up kind of cheating it. And the point is to stretch the muscles. I'm only just barely doing any strengthening exercises. This is a lot of maintenance. We're having a hard time getting the doctor to get like his written medical requirements as far as my restrictions and weight and activities. And they have a lot more terms for it at the physical therapist. How many times you gotta press it? But this one, I've been skipping it unintentionally. So let's see here. Now I can see myself. I want to stick my stomach out. I want to get my shoulders down. I want to get my head flat, and then pinch it. We're pinching it for 10 seconds. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then relax. I'm supposed to do 10 of those. I've been doing 3 of those. I don't know that I have any super interesting topics to talk about today. This is always like a good place for us to talk about it. Like I said, we're gonna we'll certainly do one Halo video The last Halo video was very long, and I was doing it in my brace with the mouse, playing and stuff, and I was capable of doing it, but at about the 45-minute part, it was like, this brace isn't very heavy, but the arm, it's got the rep, and it's injured, and it adds up, it adds up. So we were like, let's just call it, But yeah, Halo 4 is a trip. It's I experience it as being harder than the other ones. We're playing it on the same label of difficulty, but I feel like it's actually a little bit harder. Mostly you go down quickly. The monsters don't mess around, and they also throw grenades, so you gotta be on the ball. You just move from a grenade. It's not that big a deal. But I've been talking to CDMW, who was playing a lot of Hollow Knight, which is a game I always wanted to play. Was a little worried that it would be as a 2D Dark Souls game. I thought it might be a little harder. I don't know what to say. I didn't think it was going to have like an invincible roll, and I don't find Dark Souls games to be super hard. There are things that are hard in them, but I'm not like, this is a hard concept in general, and I can't handle it. But I was worried. People talk about that game being hard. It is hard, and CD and I have talked about it at great length. Essentially, it's hard. There's points in it where almost anyone would agree it's hard. You can hit it. You can do optional things in it. You can get an ending, and getting an ending that provides closure, and you're like, oh, okay, I know I'm done. Isn't that hard? It's too hard for some people. So when I say it's not that hard, don't think I'm like anybody that bitched out on it is like a bitch or whatever. It has bitched out. But CD has handled it pretty well. He's gotten all the way through the game. He's done a bunch of the optional bosses, and he did a bunch of the warriors. I think I'm slacking on this because I'm talking about the Hollow Knight, but he did a lot of the extra bosses. He hasn't done that much of Godhome, which I like. Godhome for me works. There's like Pantheon 1, 2, and 3. That basically works. I don't think they ask too much of you there. At Pantheon 4, they have an additional boss at the end of it that's like a cleaned up, more challenging version of the last boss that you would fight and get an ending, like the first ending you could achieve in the game. And when they clean him up and ramp him up, at that point they've been kind of doing that. They've been throwing in bosses, cleaning them up, ramping them up, making them do more damage, making them have extra attacks that are more difficult to deal with, or like existing attacks that are more difficult to deal with than they were in the base game. And that was when I was like, okay, I'm gonna get through Hollow Knight, and then I'm gonna look ahead at what the 5th Pantheon would have, and that had like the last boss that you would get to if you put in some more effort. Not the last boss you can beat a last boss and get a credits, and then there's a way to beat another boss that's hidden after that to get like an even more ending credit, like a different ending. And they ask you to beat that boss like without getting hit. I want to say it may not be without getting hit, but it's definitely not just the extra hidden last boss behind the last boss that I was just talking about, but even harder and faster and blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, keep doing this. And what I liked about the game was you explored a map, and you found bosses, and you fought them in any order you could find them in, and you could power up and come back and stuff. But this was like the Pantheons being boss fight after boss fight after boss fight, ramping them up, increasing the difficulty, do them all in a row, no checkpoints. Like, it just kind of broke what the entirety of the game was for me. And so that last Pantheon was BS. Luckily, there's a way to cheese it. And I was like, you know what? I'm not practicing this like all week long. I'm cheesing it. So did that and got the, and that's the thing. You get endings. You get more lore. You get more story. You get things in the pantheons that tell you stuff. And I was like, oh man, like story and lore is like locked behind this incredible ramp of difficulty. And I just was like, they took it a little too far. They have all these things in the game they could have done. They could have put benches and checkpoints. They could have been the normal boss versions you fought in the game, where they could have just dialed it in a little bit more. It's not impossible. People post to the Reddits and the fan forums and YouTube. You know, probably once a month someone comes in. I finally beat the extra hidden last boss. It's like, personally, I don't care about spoilers, but people might stumble in this and they don't want to necessarily have it spoiled. So there you go. It's a great game. I fully recommend it. It was free on PS and a few weeks back, maybe months now. And I think time flies when you're recovering. Yeah, we're coming up on week 4. It's possible, in general, most guidelines I see say that at week 8 you should be a bare minimum, or you should be shooting for 85% recovery and higher. So that would be great. At week 12, if you had a job that required lifting, you should be able to go back to that job. I push a mouse around for a living. So, but I did end up watching a guy on YouTube that was like a professional bodybuilder guy, and he had a slightly different version of the recovery from about 7 years ago, or the surgery. So 7 years ago, instead of going in and cutting a swath from here to here, it's hard to see on the video. It's about 6 inches. I have a huge scar. It's almost recovered enough that I wouldn't mind showing it on the stream. I don't think people get grossed out. But instead, they cut a little teeny thing above the elbow on the bicep side. It's like 2 inches maybe. And they go in and they put a rope and they put the tendon on it. And what it looks like to me from this guy's video, well produced, excellent, encouraging video, was that the recovery is like faster, but the high end is a little more difficult. What I have is I have an 8mm plug in my arm, and they attach that to that, and that takes longer to heal, fully integrate with the bone in my forearm. But when it's done and it's fully healed and everything's all done, it's about 50 times stronger than the previous style with the little incision and the rope and everything. So that guy probably would actually want it as a proper bodybuilder instead of me as like I've done it in passing for most of my life. God bless Franco Columbu. Go look him up, kids. The guy could take a hot water bottle and blow it up with his mouth and pop it like it was a balloon. He's nuts. He's one of Arnold Schwarzenegger's best friends. So I watched that video. It was encouraging, although he was saying that 24 months for his full strength. So I'm hoping we're at a better place in 8 weeks, and then if 8 weeks is there, I can go then the 4 more, and hopefully it's good at that point. So we're coming into week 4 of post surgery. So it won't be the same. The videos are PT weeks, so there was the 2 weeks leading up to PT. So I called it week 0, in fact, in one of them. So all right, guys. Well, we'll see you tomorrow. See how this video flip side looks on YouTube too.